Oh, Mark,
Yeah.
how's it going?
Good.
Welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I have a migraine. Um, I'm your host, Liz. I'm a husk of a woman, and I'm joined by my co-host, Marcus.
Howdy.
Howdy. Speaking of howdy, let me make sure I don't have any much glitter on my hands. New shirt. You
You
like
still
it?
you still need to tell me what shirt you want me to get you after winning
Oh
WrestleMania.
yeah. I feel like now that I'm owed I'm just like I'm resting on my laurels a little bit.
Um so today was Smackdown After Raw or Smackdown After WrestleMania.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm not, but um wasn't horrendous.
I've watched worse episodes of wrestling before, if that counts for something.
Matches were solid. Main event match was solid until it wasn't. Women's match was awful.
Yeah.
Um Uh, you know, okay. So if we want to compare episodes after WrestleMania, it's like Raw played its hand and folded, and it's like a game of poker. They played their hand, they folded, they were fucking awful. Like it was an awful hand, awful play. SmackDown, they folded before making a play at all. They folded before letting us see what their hand is at all. It's like they're kind of building up to something and teasing something, but we never saw any of it.
Yeah, every second of tonight's episode, I felt like I was waiting for something to happen, and then nothing happened. And I was like, why the fuck am I here? If your biggest return is Bailey, why am I here?
I wouldn't say Bailey's. I think in the biggest surprise in this whole episode was Cesaro and Seth. But Denise Salcedo, I think said it perfectly that it feels like one of the first episodes of Raw in the Performance Center when it felt like they were saving for something.
Yeah, okay. That's a fair point. This like felt so just flat out not this felt like old SmackDown.
Right.
Where like I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm hoping that like what I'm watching in the moment is going to be worth something at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it sucks because SmackDown's been really good lately.
Yeah. And I mean, coming out of WrestleMania, you would think, like, you'd be able to build a lot of stuff out of this. Like, the whole Cesaro feud with Roman was super cool when it first came up in the episode, and then they brought Seth back in, and unless it turns into a three-way feud like Edge and Daniel Bryan, or ends up being Seth reuniting with Roman, if this just comes back down to Seth and Cesaro exclusively, it's gonna suck. Um, but a lot of missing people today. No Big E, no Daniel Bryan, no Edge, no barely any Sasha. Um, I feel like there's someone else missing. No, we saw Rey Mysterio. We saw Seth barely. No Carmella.
Ooh. I just assumed she went to Raw with Corey. Is
But
that horribly sexist of me? I feel like it might be.
it would have been better if you said Corey went to Raw with Carmella. But we got Pat McAfee on commentary today, and he was actually really good. He did a great job, and they didn't sacrifice his personality that he had on NXT.
Yeah, he was. I didn't notice that he was there, honestly, for the most part, like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He he stood for a lot of the matches, which was actually a lot of fun because it was like it was energy. It was a lot of energy.
Yeah, he seemed like very just genuinely psyched to be there, and I thought like it's too cute. Like I know you're being a dick on the mic, but like your excitement, it's too sweet.
And he also brought a lot of knowledge too. Like it's not like he was coming in completely like just missing of any wrestling knowledge. Like of course he has wrestling knowledge because he has experience with it, but he also had experience, like a knowledge of like the wrestlers, of the moves they were doing. I think he corrected Cole on the lariat rather than a clothesline.
That was me.
No, but when he did that, he he quietly said lariat after Cole said clothesline.
I feel like we've got a match made in heaven here. But yeah, I mean it's a bit of a step up from Adnan, who didn't know what a dropkick was. It's kind of nice because I feel like they sent Corey over to Raw because like it's almost like a chaperone, if you will. Yeah. I feel like he's like the chaperone over on Raw now. But I was worried because I was like, well, I know Pat knows about wrestling, but like, does he?
Yeah.
And then he came out tonight, and I was like, oh, well.
It helps that he's like a host of his own show, so he has those mic skills.
Yeah. He brings that to the table, which is nice.
I wonder if this is a permanent thing, or if it's just for this one episode.
Well, I think that depends on the trajectory of Adam Cole's career.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Adam Cole is going anywhere because I think that they're pushing a Kyle Adam feud for longer than we already got it. Just based on that last clip that we saw on Tuesday.
Right. I was thinking the same thing, but you never know. You never know. I think the main roster has pulled guys up mid-feud before.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, tonight's episode of SmackDown was just I felt myself wishing the 2 hours were up. And then we got that Natty and like Shayna fight, and I was like, damn, I really want to be here for this, but like mentally I'm not.
You see, I'm kind of the opposite. When a SmackDown episode's bad, I always wish it was longer so that there's time for a payout.
See, that's I hit that point at the Bianca celebration. And then after that ended, that's when I moved on. That's when I hit the next phase of accepting SmackDown might not be good tonight, which is wishing it were 10 o'clock.
You were hoping somebody came out during Bianca's victory? I was hoping nobody did. I wanted her to celebrate on her own.
After she got going, I was like, well, no one's coming out after this. Like, there's no way that they can pull that off in a tasteful manner.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I wanted somebody to come out during it, but solely because I wanted somebody to come out. Once Bianca started talking, I was like, well, we can't really interrupt this one, can we?
Right. And that's something that I feel like needs to happen more with wrestlers. It's just let their celebrations be their celebrations. And let's just sit with their victory for now.
Yeah. I don't know. I genuinely am not happy with tonight's episode. It made me so cranky. I already had a headache. So
well, you have a headache 24/7.
I really do. And one of the new prescriptions I'm on, one of the side effects is headaches, and I was like, all right. Sure.
But shall we get started with the news for this episode?
Yeah. We'll probably need like a fucking extra hour on that one, buddy.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about.
Welcome to the news portion of this podcast, which is not normally as long as it's going to be tonight, but my God, it's probably going to be a minute. Let's start with the obvious. We'll get into the deeper stuff in a second. let's start with the obvious, which is Pat McAfee is now on SmackDown. Don't know why I really included that tonight, but I just want to make sure that we talked about it because we barely talked about Adnan. So I was like, if we fuck this up, no, we didn't because Pat was a star tonight. Other things that are interesting to talk about that aren't the obvious thing to talk about is that WWE is planning to be back on the road as soon as possible. It's funny because they literally just were talking about how they didn't want to do that.
You know what? I can see exactly why they would be saying that, because coming out of WrestleMania and going back to the Thunderdome, it's like going back to the Performance Center. Like it's so much less energy and everything feels so robotic and stale. You need the fans there. The piped in noise and everyone going like this. It sucks.
It's bad. And like, because like I realized when we were watching WrestleMania, because that's the first thing that we've watched together with a crowd that was current. And
actually, it wasn't. We started watching like an episode or two when they still had crowds.
No, the first episode we watched was SmackDown with Jeff Hardy fighting some guy. No, not Jeff Hardy fighting some guy. They were building up to Jeff Hardy's return. It was Lucha House Party, and I remember it was empty, and it was really sad.
I remember crowds with the start of the whole Otis, Mandy, Sonya, Dolph feud. They had crowds there.
I don't remember crowds for that.
Yeah.
I don't remember crowds for that at all.
Oh, I distinctly remember crowds being there.
Well, anyways, I don't think you're right, but I'm gonna keep talking. Which is normally how it works. But it's so sad, and it was like Paul Heyman was quoted saying that wrestling without fans is like masturbating.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good analogy, actually.
It's a disgusting analogy when I really like put everything into context, put all the pieces into place, but
we're not sponsored.
Right.
We don't have to censor anything.
I'm not a prude, but the word masturbation sounds ugh.
There are a lot of words that sound like that. What?
Self-love.
Okay.
Anyways, but apparently Nick Khan said that there's no firm plans right now, but they are planning to get back on the road as soon as possible. Which makes sense. Like you were saying, it's just so depressing not having real fans. And the thing is that like when the heel comes out, I'm like, I get it. It's the fucking heel because it's all these piped in boos.
Yeah.
But like when we were watching WrestleMania, it was like the heels are still getting cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and it's like they keep up the rumble through the piped in noise, but when there's an actual crowd there, it's actually pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Like you don't hear a rumble of people. When Roman kind of acknowledges the booing and acknowledges the piped in noise, it just makes it even more sad.
Yeah. It's like with the fucking first episode in the Performance Center with Raw, with Stone Cold being like, can you give me a hell yeah?
Oh, that was so great though. That was so much like self-awareness. It was perfect. That whole episode is like a fucking fever dream.
It really is. But we weren't watching Raw at that point. I know that much.
We definitely were not. We were only watching SmackDown.
Yeah. All right, so next piece of news. First things first, found out that Alistair Black might not be the best person in the world, which sucks. Fuck. Anyways, it's a man. What do we expect? But whether you take that into account or not, Alistair Black is apparently the WWE began taping vignettes for his return, which I'm fucking shocked that he's coming back. Like, my mind is blown that he's coming back. I think he was the one person that, like, if somebody asked me, who do I think is leaving WWE, I would have said him in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But did you see the video he posted on his Instagram?
So that's what this article is talking about. I did not see it. I'm looking at it now. But obviously I can't hear it.
Yeah, I watched it without sound too. People are saying it's kind of I don't think you would know this reference. I don't even really. Far Cry 5, one of the villains in that game. A lot of people are saying he's resembling that a lot, and it's like kind of this corrupted pastor. I think the whole premise of that game is like it's like the wrong side of Christianity, I guess.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it does still kind of fall under Alistair's fallen angel kind of thing, like corrupted religion. Yeah.
So again, going back to what I was saying before I really got into this piece of news, I have heard that Alistair Black's not the best person in the world. Now that he's wearing those fucking glasses, dude, he looks like every man on our college campus that I knew to stay away from because they were going to hand me fucking American spirits and ask me if I drink whiskey. And I was going to have to say no and probably call a friend to take me home.
We should also...
exactly what he looks like.
We should also add in a big old allegedly. Allegedly.
Oh, of course. Our standard allegedly package.
Right. This isn't like those rare situations when we can skip out on the allegedly.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I take it into account. But it sucks.
Yeah.
But once again, it's a man in wrestling, so I don't really fucking know what I expect half the time.
Again, like 99% of wrestlers have some kind of dark past. Some skeletons in their closet.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
There are very few that I trust, like Xavier Woods.
Ooh. Wait, are you saying you don't trust him, or he's one of the few that you trust?
He's one of the few I do trust.
Oh. I was like, ow, that's fucking... that's like a little dark.
No.
Jesus.
Him and Adam Cole, I think. And Cesaro. I trust Cesaro too. Up, down, down, for the most part.
I want to say I trust Sheamus. But I don't actually. I can't trust Sheamus because Sheamus is dating like a 22-year-old. Well, the list gets shorter every day.
Bronson Reed, I would trust with my whole heart.
I trust him. I don't know many others.
Sammy.
I definitely don't trust Dexter. Sammy, I trust.
Kevin
yeah.
Owens.
Don't trust Dexter Loomis. Kevin, I'm gonna go with a hard probably. I trust him.
Oh my god, when he was making all those rants about wearing a mask and Black Lives Matter.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. He's got a good heart.
Anyways, speaking of skeletons in closets, would you like to get into it? The skeletons in the closet?
Yes. But is this something that was just recently uncovered? Or is this like kind of old? Are we talking about Alistair? No. Or are we moving on?
No. We've moved on from Alistair.
Okay.
No, we're talking about literal skeletons in closets. And by literal, I mean, I don't mean literal. So happy 1-year anniversary of Black Wednesday. We had another.
Is this going to be like a yearly thing where WWE cleans house every April what? April 15th? April 16th? What's today's date?
What day is today?
April 15th?
April 15th. I guess it wasn't a Black Wednesday, it was a Black Thursday. But I guess, so if you live under a rock and somehow you are not aware of what the fuck happened, last year, the WWE cited budget cuts as a good reason to release a bajillion and 9 people. This included Rusev, a hell of a lot of producers. Who the fuck else got cut out?
Rusev, Heath Slater, Drake Maverick.
Almost.
No, he did get released, but then they worked his video response into hiring him back.
Okay.
Mike Chioda. Pat
What's his
Buck,
face? Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder. The
Gallows and
Revival,
Anderson.
Gallows and Anderson.
Is the Revival? Oh yeah, yes they were.
Aren't they the Young Bucks now?
No, that's Cash Wheeler and
No, is it?
It is. Yes,
Oh, because whenever I think Cash Wheeler, I think Cash Wheeler and Zack Ryder, but Zack Ryder was not with them.
No, they cut out AOP also.
AOP. But this time it's not as hard cutting.
Yeah. Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood.
Right.
Cash and Dax.
Dax Harwood. Okay. God, what a fucking name.
I know. But anyways, so list is fucking long. There was 1 million people that were cut. And then the WWE decided to be completely tone deaf to everything that they had done and do it again. So, out of fucking nowhere, I'm just, I'm in a meeting and I'm finally fucking like out of the woods. I don't have to do shit anymore. So I'm on my phone. And all of a sudden I see my Discord server that I'm part of blowing up. I see Twitter blowing up. I see Tumblr blowing up. And I'm like,
I texted you too.
You text? I thought somebody fucking died. That was so cruel because you were like, I need to tell you something. And I was like,
no,
is it about Black?
I asked you if you're still in the meeting right now.
Well, yeah, but I said, is it about Black Wednesday? And you said, I have to tell you something after that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't understand in the moment what you meant by Black Wednesday.
I really thought somebody had fucking died. Anyways, so everything around me is blowing up. You're texting me. And I was like, what the fuck? So I think I got the complete list here. I'm not sure. Billy Kay was released. Peyton Royce was released. Bo Dallas was released. Tucky was released. Kalisto was released. Samoa Joe was released. Mickie James was released. Chelsea Green was released. Mojo Rawley was released. Did I miss anyone?
You got Bo Dallas, right?
Uh-huh.
I think that's everyone.
The John Laurinaitis was the one who was doing all these releasings and citing budget cuts, which is interesting because the WWE has enough money to wipe their fucking asses with, because they just signed a massive fucking deal with Peacock and they've had massive turnouts for their most recent fucking events.
Yeah.
It's furious.
Yeah. Same excuse last year when they were also reporting record profits.
Well, I think at the time that it happened last year, it was worth stating, like, okay, maybe things are sketchy because of COVID. That was around the time that everybody was getting fucking fired in the real world.
Yeah.
But then it came out that they made record profits this past year, and it was like,
and but you a big company like WWE, who has all the money in the world, can just get great PR just by keeping them on, not necessarily having them on TV, but just keeping them a part of their company for publicity's sake. And this time around, there was no reason to cut anyone. Just stop fucking hiring and signing new people. Make stars out of the people you already have. Send them down to NXT for God's sake. Who gives a fuck? Just, you don't need to... You're telling me out of a team of 30 plus writers, you couldn't find something for Peyton and Billy to do. You couldn't find something for Kalisto to do. Something for fucking Samoa Joe, for God's sake.
Instead of showing us the same fucking matches over and over again, do you know how many fucking times we have seen fucking Dirty Dogs fighting literally anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the tag roster is so fucking small to begin with. Do something there.
And the fucking, like, one of the worst parts is Billy Kay, because she just had a match at WrestleMania, got a pin at WrestleMania 2. And Kevin Dunn spoke about Billy Kay and gave a reason, I guess. He said that he didn't specifically get Billy Kay.
You want to know what the real worst part is? A lot of people who were released knew that these releases were coming down the pike. And they said, hey, am I safe? Like, are we good? And they were told that they were safe. And it makes sense because Billie Kay just participated in a WrestleMania match. Peyton Royce just had her old little spiel. Bo Dallas participated in a WrestleMania test match to test out equipment. Like, he was just backstage at SmackDown. Samoa Joe was just standing in a poncho at WrestleMania commentating.
Now, going to Samoa Joe for a second. Yes, that one does hurt a lot. But he will have a massive pick of the litter as far as wrestling companies go. However, what probably happened with Joe was that he probably wanted to return to wrestling, but they probably wouldn't let him because of the amount of injuries that he's gotten. Plus, he's I think in his 40s right now. So they wanted to keep him on commentary, and they couldn't really work something out, so they just released him. But man, it's gonna suck not having Joe around.
And I mean, the thing that's also like kind of frustrating is that there's not a lot of places that have women's rosters that are quite as strong as the WWE. I mean, AEW is getting there for sure.
Right.
But like, it's easier for the men to get rehired and get shown off than it is for the women.
Mm-hmm.
And that fucking sucks.
Right.
And like, there are some people at the very least that you can kind of hope asked to leave. I'm just gonna clean my camera real quick. Sorry. I know this is very professional of me. Like Tucky fucking seemed pleased as punch.
Oh yeah. Now he's gonna thrive somewhere else.
Yeah, he can wrestle now.
Yeah. He seemed pissed off this entire time about everything that's happened.
But like, it just sucks because there's like, you know, Mojo I kind of understand. A lot of people are saying he's a great guy, but like that doesn't change the fact that he hasn't done shit recently.
He was probably kept around because he's friends with Gronk and they were banking on Gronk returning.
Yeah. Billy and Peyton makes no sense why release them together. Peyton I would have understood, but Billy I don't get that.
It's like if you thought of them as a package in their release, why not think of them as a package on TV? Keep them as a tag team. And
everybody liked Billie Kay. Like, everyone I've ever heard talking about her was like, she's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And maybe she's not fucking wrestling all the time, but she's funny.
When is WWE gonna release Kevin Dunn so that he can stop fucking directing things over there? Because he's fucking sucks. He's the one in charge and calls all the shots in terms of like production. The reason there are so many cuts and horrible camera work is because of him.
And on top of that, when is the WWE going to release people like Velveteen Dream? Or, you know, Jackson Riker? Or, you know, Jordan Devlin? Or, you know, Joe Coffey? Or Wolfgang? Or Sid Scala? Or Ginny? Or anybody that's fucking terrible?
Now,
Matt Riddle.
That does bring us to the rumor for today, which was that there were supposed to be more cuts, more releases coming, specifically targeting NXT. And we haven't heard anything. This was according to Wrestling Observer News. So maybe it's wrong. Maybe there aren't cuts coming. Or they're waiting until 205 Live is over.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. There's a full crop of people to fucking take from right now that aren't doing shit. And you cut people that are doing shit, that are interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep. And
Like,
I think did you forget Wesley Blake in the list?
I did. Wesley Blake was also released. So shout out to Jackson Riker for tanking 2 people's fucking careers.
Now that's not to say that Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler are good people, because let's not forget the reason Steven Cutler was released.
Stephen Blake.
And I believe Blake, I know one of them had some MAGA stuff that they had on social media that they quickly deleted just after Jackson Riker said what he said to kind of save face.
It was one of I'm not saying that they're good people. I'm just saying, like, take Jackson with you.
Yeah, and if there's anyone who's not worth keeping on TV despite their skeletons in their closet, it's fucking Jackson Riker, because history and outside of wrestling aside, he sucks at wrestling. He sucks on a mic. He's rough to look at, and he's just so uninteresting. He's got no character, no personality. He's just a bodyguard, and he's tanking Elias too. Elias deserves a lot better than what he's being given.
Yeah. It just blows my mind. I feel really bad for Chelsea Green, but she might be going over to Impact actually, like, immediately.
Yeah.
It's just, man. I hope there aren't more releases. Like, I don't want to hear any more of this shit.
Deonna Purrazzo actually responded to Wesley Blake being released and tweeted, and then there was one, and then like the puking face emoji.
Deonna Purrazzo is a fucking horrible human being, but, like, she's right in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought those words would come out of my mouth. Yeah, so it's shitty. It's horrible for company morale because, like, you're cutting people that people loved.
Yeah.
And then, like, we're getting all these tweets from those wrestlers after the fact, and they're just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, and let's not forget how it also impacts Up, Up, Down, Down as well. I mean, some of these names are also included in the ongoing Battle of the Brands series, which fucks them up. I think in the past they've had to, like, redact their name or something. But Samoa Joe was a huge part of Up, Up, Down, Down, and people are really worried about Tyler Breeze's fate with the NXT releases, because it seems like he might be on the chopping block.
Really?
It's what a lot of people are saying. If they're cutting jobbers, Tyler Breeze is probably the closest thing they have.
You think they'd cut half of Fandango? Yep, half of Breezango.
Half of Fandango, his upper half.
Handsome aspect.
I mean, yeah, Fandango's got history in WWE.
But so does Breeze. Breeze has been there since FCW or whatever it was.
I think in terms of popularity, though, I think Fandango's got more of it. But if anyone's getting cut, it's probably going to be like Jake Atlas or Arturo Ruas, Aaliyah probably.
Aaliyah has survived multiple cuts like this before, and it's shocking to me. And good for her, truly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's... I mean, I feel like Breeze would be a little higher up seniority-wise than a lot of people that I could actually see getting cut. But also, clearly seniority doesn't matter.
Right. But
so...
The thing in Breeze's favor is Up, Up, Down, Down, actually, because, I mean, Jessamine Duke isn't wrestling anymore, and she's signed to WWE specifically as being part of Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been this stressed about somebody else's fucking job.
Mm-hmm. But we could go on forever about the releases, so why don't we move on to the episode, matches and promos.
I apologize in advance. I'm probably gonna have to take my migraine medicine on the podcast. I hate doing that because I feel like I look like a drug addict.
Okay.
Probably gonna have to happen. If we want Elizabeth to be functional, necessary evil.
All right, so let's get down to the episode. Promo-wise, I think this was a pretty great episode for the most part.
I wish there were more.
A very uninteresting episode, I'd say.
Especially when you consider how interesting it could have been. Boring as shit.
Yeah, I feel like we just sprinted in circles.
Yeah.
But we started off, Roman, Paul, and Jay come out. I feel like we need a name for this stable. They need to name this group. Maybe if they get one more person in, like if Jimmy joins in, then definitely name it.
But I feel like giving a stable name makes them all on equal footing, whereas it's just Roman and his entourage. So look at my arm.
Just name it The Table.
Somebody had a sign in the Thunderdome that said The Rock is the real head of the table, and it was like this old ass like little old white man. I was like, you got it, buddy.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Alright, so Roman says we put a lot of eyes on SmackDown at WrestleMania. Paul, tell them who I beat in the main event of WrestleMania. And then Paul basically just recaps the main event, says that he beat a Hall of Famer, Edge, and a future Hall of Famer, married to a Hall of Famer, Daniel Bryan. Roman said he called his shot and he'll smash them. Called his shot saying that he'll smash them and stack them, and he did. He said nobody wants to face Roman now after that. Nobody wants to put their reputation on the line for the title. But then, Cesaro comes out. Shockingly. Out of all the names to expect, Cesaro was probably not the highest. He comes in, grabs the mic, and then before he can say anything, Roman, Jay, and Paul just leave. They just leave. And then Cesaro just tosses the mic away. Well, I really liked the end of this promo because it's not your usual promo. It's just Roman fucking leaving. No words were exchanged.
Yeah, I think it was like the ultimate disrespect.
Yeah. And especially when Roman's whole thing is acknowledgement. He didn't acknowledge Cesaro at all. So after that, we have Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville backstage. Cesaro walks in and he's mad about Roman walking out on him. And he wants a match with Roman tonight. Doesn't have to be for a title. He just wants a match. And you're a fool if you think that's actually going to happen. If you think Roman's going to have a match outside of a pay-per-view, you are wrong. But Sonya says she'll talk to Roman. See what she can do. And then we move on to one of our few matches from today. Otis versus Rey Mysterio. This was actually a really good match.
You know, okay, so it wasn't a bad match. But can I just say that I can't stand Dolph Ziggler? And I don't know if you saw it, but he tweeted today, or whenever the fuck this match was announced. And he may have deleted it, I'm not sure. Oh yeah. And it says, so assuming this is like a fan talking, make the champs defend their titles. Champs defend 2 times in 2 weeks. Ugh, this match again? Why don't they fight the team I like? 4-way with all the teams last week. We all know they're losing. Tomorrow. Well, you know they'll lose one day, so predictable. And it's like, baby boy, y'all didn't defend the titles for like a solid 2 months.
Yeah.
And now the only time we see you potentially defending the title is in lazy ass smacked together 4-way tag matches or 8-man tag matches that are a waste of everybody's time.
Fatal 4-way tag.
Like, you don't have a feud with anybody. Well, I'm saying there was 8-man tag matches and there was 4-way tag matches. it's like, I don't know, shit like that just like fucking annoyed me. And then like it just put a sour taste in my mouth for the entire tag session that we went through today, where I was like, now you're doing it right. You're doing it right now. So good, but like, at what cost?
And you know for a fact,
Ray versus
the only reason they had a title defense today was because they had nothing else to do because a lot of their stars were not there.
You know how that fan tested positive or potentially tested positive for COVID?
I don't think
I'm not
that's
saying that
why
they
they're
got
gone.
COVID.
Mhm.
I was going to say that maybe they're trying to quarantine as many people as they possibly can.
Maybe. But I feel like if there's anyone you're going to quarantine, make it Roman.
Well, Roman was only around people for a very short period of time.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever fucking that fan was, the real piece of shit.
True.
Whether it was real or not.
True.
So let's get into the match. This super fun match. That'll be one of Rey Mysterio's 1 in a million.
Yeah. I take up. Oh, we're good. So to start the match, we get a big body check to Rey, and then a clubbing blow to the chest. Otis then deadlifts Rey before flapjacking him behind his back. Rey slides out from the ring, kind of like Penguin slides it a little bit. Nearly breaks his fucking neck on the way down as well because he tucks and rolls once he hits the ringside area, which was a little stressful to me. I didn't care for that shit. Like, you're old, don't do that. Rey gets back in, sends some shoulders to Otis' stomach, and then hangs him up on the top rope. He goes up top, but Otis shakes him up a little bit, sends him into this hanging upside down position on the ropes. Rey, however, dodges a charging Otis and sends him into the post by holding himself up, kind of like doing a crunch on said ropes. He then goes off the top ropes with a seated senton, hits a running knee into Otis's face. Didn't quite look like a running knee, very much looked like a weird fucked up senton, and I think that's just because his legs were too akimbo for a running knee to really connect the way it should have. Because Otis just got a face full of Rey crotch in the process. I was like, oh man, that's probably not great. So Rey goes for the springboard crossbody, but of course Otis catches him. And then slams him to the ground. Otis goes to the second rope and goes for the diving headbutt, but Rey rolls away, gets Otis in the 619 position. Otis gets up. Rey trips him again, gets him back into the 619 position. He goes for the seated senton again, but ends up in an inverted torture rack, and he uses Otis's weight to pull him down, brings him into the crucifix pin, gets the win. Chad Gable, shocked.
That crucifix pin was actually really cool.
Yes. I was not expecting it.
Yeah,
honestly.
and I think the way it was done was also great because it was like, it made sense. Like Otis's weight kind of like trapped him in that position and he couldn't like move out of it. It's really cool.
Yeah. I thought it worked really well.
So after that, we had an interview with Paul Heyman. He said, yes, Roman will accept. Roman will accept, but Cesaro will be fighting Jay. They like to put smiles on Neanderthals like Cesaro. The rain from WrestleMania was actually tears from angels about the beating Roman would give Edge and Daniel Bryan. But he then said that he stepped in a puddle coming out from that match, but it wasn't tears of angel. It wasn't rain, or it wasn't the tears of angels. It was the tears from the locker room, knowing that they wouldn't be able to challenge for the Universal Championship at all. What was this weirdly poetic promo?
I don't know. Paul was on one today, dude. I don't know what his fucking vibe was, but he was somewhere else.
He said that Seth Rollins had to lower himself to face someone like Cesaro. and Cesaro would be physically capable of challenging Roman, but he is a joke. Also, we should mention that they played Cesaro's clip of giving the UFO to Seth Rollins 50,000 times in this episode. It was insane. Everyone was complaining on Twitter, except Sean Ross Sapp. Sean Ross Sapp was fucking enjoying it, but everyone else was so annoyed. So after that, we then have Sami Zayn out into the ring. Sami Zayn says, all the headlines are talking about Logan Paul taking a stunner and all that, but what the headlines should be saying is Sami Zayn once again screwed. Mania was supposed to be my vindication, but Logan Paul's mind was poisoned by the WWE Universe, by management, by Michael Cole. He said he could be, as soon as Logan Paul came out to the ring, Sammy could feel Logan Paul pulling back. And that was the only reason Kevin Owens was able to win. But Sammy said his vindication won't be denied, and he calls out Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens immediately comes out, and then we start the match, a rematch between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
I wasn't happy about this.
I wasn't happy. I didn't hate the match, but if anything's gonna have like a WrestleMania rematch and just end up being like a forever feud, it's this one. I could see them brawling a ton.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. Anyways, let's get into it. I think I'm just sour on tonight's episode, honestly. Probably. All right. So Sammy immediately slips from the ring. Kevin goes ringside, bounces Sammy's head against the AD. The announce desk, not the AD. I abbreviate shit in my notes. Like the time I called Kushida Kush. We get some chops to Zayn, and then a clothesline and a running senton down onto Sammy. Kevin goes for the cannonball, but Sammy slips out again, hangs Kevin up on the ropes. We get Sammy kneeling against Kevin Owens on those same ropes before unleashing a little crossface punch. We get a chop to Zayn. Zayn turns to stomping Kevin in the corner. They just start exchanging blows after a certain point. We eventually get a kick under the jaw to Kevin Owens. Another hiccup. I'm trying to mitigate the water that is slowly crawling down my esophagus. Water becomes solid sometimes when I'm drinking it. I feel like I'll be drinking it and all of a sudden I'm just like, this is not how this should go. Anyways. So Kevin follows that up with a clothesline. He bounces Sammy off the top rope, puts Sammy up top. Also, can we discuss the fact that Sammy bounces off the top rope like he has no fucking bones? Like he,
I know.
He Kyle O'Reilly's that shit really hard. It scares me sometimes. I'm just like, tuck something. I don't know, man. Bones. So Kevin puts Sammy up top. Sammy starts fighting the ascending Kevin Owens. Hits him with some elbows. We get a sunset flip powerbomb to Kevin that didn't really look like it was supposed to happen, but if it wasn't, they played it fine. Just the movement was a little awkward. But there was a super kick to Zayn and a senton off the top ropes to Sammy. Kevin then tosses Sammy against the ropes and Sammy slips on out again. Owens then throws Zayn into the barricade before loading him back in. Kevin goes for the pop-up powerbomb, but Sammy avoids it with the intention of suplexing Kevin, who fights free from that with some elbows. He drives Zayn neck first into the knee of Kevin in that fucking move that makes my muscles tense, where he kind of curls him up and drops him.
Oh, Michinoku Driver?
No. That would be Into the Canvas. This is that thing where he gets Sammy tucked into a ball and brings him down neck first, high up on the neck against his knee.
I know, I can picture it, but I don't know the name of it.
Yeah. This makes me so tense. Um, Sammy at this point refuses to stay in the ring. He gets counted out. Kevin Owens won't accept that. He goes and grabs Sammy, brings him back into the ring, hits him with a stunner, and calls that a job done.
Yeah. Eh. Match was decent. The match itself was good. Sami Zayn just trying to run.
Yeah.
It does kind of fit his character though, like all bark and no bite.
It's a chicken shit heel kind of thing to do for sure.
Right. Also, we do have some news about a preview of Monday Night's Raw. We'll be seeing Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. We will be seeing Drew McIntyre in his hunt for answers. Apparently, he's going to confront MVP about the attack at the end of Raw this week. And then we'll be seeing Randy Orton versus Braun Strowman.
I know I take the notes. I know I take the notes on the matches and stuff, but what the fuck happened with Drew?
Mason T-Bar.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I did forget that.
But yeah, Randy versus Braun for the first time.
Yeah, okay. I'll take it.
Somehow they'll screw it up.
I'm sure.
Both of those matches will somehow be non-finishes.
It really sounds like the most boring episode of Raw somebody can conjure up, so...
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Alright, so after that match, we then have Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz backstage. Aziz is happy about Apollo winning. And then Apollo mentions Big E not being here, and he introduces Commander Aziz, saying he is his Nigerian elite guard, and that Commander Aziz will protect Apollo from anyone wanting the title. Cue Big E coming in, saying that you shouldn't need someone to fight your battles for you. That's probably what's going to happen next week.
Can I just say? Al looks like a fucking baby, and I did not realize how old he was until I looked it up.
How old is he?
32. I thought he was like our age.
Like a Finn Balor 32.
Yeah, he's got a little baby face on him. Also, he is a May Gemini, May 26th.
Okay. Alright, so after that we
Another one on my team.
We have Bianca Belair's victory party after this, thrown by the Street Profits. So Street Profits are in the ring talking, and this whole promo was very sweet. Tez said that one match he'll be telling his grandkids about, and then we play fantastic video package about the Bianca versus Sasha match. Really, really well put together. And then Bianca comes out. She starts talking on the mic, saying, "If you can dream it, you can do it." But it's not just about me. It's also about Sasha Banks. We created history together. This match was for all the little girls watching. And we're just getting started creating history. They all have a group hug. And then that's it. No interruptions, no last second challenges, nothing like that. It was a nice moment.
Yes, it was well done. Bianca's good on the mic.
Yeah.
I like that for her. I like that Dawkins and Montez didn't fucking say anything while she was talking. I like that a lot. It was really well done. I thought she did a great job.
But then after that, we have an interview with Sasha Banks. She is furious, but she is speechless at the same time. She just walks out, doesn't answer a single question, because she's so mad. But I don't. The one thing I want is I don't want her to come up with some reason to invalidate Bianca's win. It was a very clean win. There was no reason to invalidate it in any way.
I can tell you some hypotheses that people have, but you might. I'll hold on to it for another promo.
There were two matches that deserve no invalidation. Well, definitely the Bianca Sasha match, and also definitely the Universal Triple Threat. Although an argument can be made that Jay was there to help Roman.
Yeah.
But the fact that he pinned both of them, just that is clean enough to where there should be no argument.
I don't really agree with that, but I'll agree with the Bianca one.
So after that, we had an interview with Bayley. Nice to see Bayley once again. She said that she bets Sasha wants a rematch, but she was busy saving Mania while Bianca was in the main event. Bianca was crying because she didn't think that she could do it, and that's not the type of champion you want. She said she wants Bianca's title.
This is where it comes in, which is a lot of people are saying we might get a Bayley, Sasha, Bianca three-way. Yep, that's the word that we're going to use for that, I guess. Sorry? Triple threat was really the word I was kind of going for on that one.
I don't know. I think Becky Lynch, she'll come in at some point, whether it's next week or sometime soon. She will come in because she is signed to SmackDown right now.
Will she though? Like at this point, will she? In your heart of hearts, will she come back ever?
I hope.
Yeah, we all fucking do.
But I wouldn't mind a Bianca Bayley feud for the title, especially because they could acknowledge the fact that Bayley couldn't get it from Sasha, so that she's just preying on Bianca, who she deems to be weaker than Sasha, despite Bianca winning over Sasha. I wouldn't want to see another Sasha Bianca feud. Definitely not.
I wouldn't either, but I also don't trust the WWE.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. That's very fair. So after that, we have the Street Profits versus the Dirty Dogs for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship.
Yeah, we do. This is a match full of rapid tags, so my notes will sound weird. That's not my fault. For once. All right. I love that, like, I'm always talking to my camera. Like, how I can see me. I'm always talking to that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I feel like I'm talking to the people, I'm literally just looking at myself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a personal problem. So we start with Dawkins and Ziggler. We had a dropkick to Dawkins and a hard right hook to Ziggler that really didn't look like it fucking missed. Didn't look pulled by any means. Montez gets in. We get a dropkick to Dolph. Dawkins gets back in. We get double axe handles down onto Ziggler's arm, which is held out by Ford. Montez gets back in, does the same double axe handles, except this time Dawkins is holding out Dolph's arm. Then we get Bobby Roode. Yeah, because Robbie Roode's a different guy.
Yeah.
Entirely. But we get Bobby Roode. Montez trips Dolph into Roode. Dawkins gets in. We get a team facebuster to Roode and then team facebuster to Ziggler. We get a flying clothesline and a bulldog and probably the most literal example of a shoulder tackle that I've ever fucking seen in my entire time watching wrestling. I mean, Dawkins went like very rude.
Mm-hmm.
Smacked right into him. We get a headlock on Roode and a corkscrew back elbow to Roode. Ziggler then distracts and opens the ring for a big spine buster to Dawkins. Ziggler gets in off this, hits a neck breaker off on Dawkins. Roode got in. Don't really know what he did. Ziggler got back in. Dawkins catapulted Ziggler into the turnbuckles, and then Montez and Roode both tagged in. We had shoulder tackles to Roode. This brings Dolph in. We had a drop kick to Rude and a drop kick to Ziggler. At this point, it looked like the Street Profits were countering everything that the Dirty Dogs had to throw at them. So it was kind of promising. Mm-hmm. We get a this is the only way I could explain this, but a somersaulting arm drag, basically. Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
I've never seen it before, but it was like basically a somersaulting arm drag to Rude and then a clothesline to Ziggler. We get a belly to back suplex and then a kip up, then a moonsault onto Rude. Montez then flies out onto Rude and Ziggler, tags in Dawkins. We get an up and down spinebuster to Rude. Montez gets in with the frog splash. Montez at this point is out of his fucking mind, out of control, hitting anything in his fucking way, which was weird and made me very stressed out because I was like, I swear to Christ, break up these motherfuckers, I'm going to have big fucking problems. But Ziggler gets in, zigzags Tez to win.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with this finish. Because Street Profits were on top for literally the entire match. It wasn't a back and forth like most matches are. Profits were on top the entire time, and then Dolph gets off one zigzag, and that's suddenly it.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a zigzag that was really brought around by distraction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, so you're telling me that they were just holding this in their arsenal this whole time.
Yeah. But it is what it is. It's fitting of the Dirty Dogs title reign.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And I don't care what Dolph Ziggler says. I think it's fucking stupid. And I think that their title reign is fucking bullshit. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Also, there was something I want to bring up that I should have brought up during the news.
Oh, come on, man.
But Logan Paul was on his podcast and started talking about his experience with WWE and at WrestleMania. And, all positive things to say. It wasn't trashing WWE. He seems to have a greater appreciation for it and commends it for being very real. Contrary to what Soulja Boy would say.
Now we're gonna get a Soulja Boy versus Logan Paul fight somehow.
Honestly, Logan Paul would be all for it. But he also committed to kayfabe a bit. I didn't watch the clip, but from what I'm seeing, people are saying that he's committing to kayfabe. He recognizes that people get hurt in wrestling, and it's nice to see that he didn't just come out of it and start immediately trashing it.
Yeah, good for you, Logan.
All right. So, and also Bad Bunny also had great things to say after his experience too.
Of course he did. He's a beautiful little boy.
He said everyone treated him very well.
Sorry. Little boy sounds like really weird to say about a man who's older than me.
Yeah.
But he's a beautiful, wonderful man, and I'm so glad that we got him in our little wrestling world for the amount of time that we got him.
Yeah. And he was utilized perfectly and got the perfect finish.
Yeah. And a beautiful little send-off, too.
Yeah. That video is so good. All right, so after that match, we have an interview with Cesaro. He says Paul Heyman's right. I do have buck teeth. I'm not very smart. And I have long arms. But he's wrong about one thing. I belong in the ring with Roman Reigns. And then... yeah.
I was just going to say, I don't think Cesaro has buck teeth.
I think he's just being self-deprecating.
I guess. But, like, those are surgically repaired teeth. I think that they're fine.
But we move from the darling of a man, Cesaro, to this horrible, horrendous match between Natalya and Shayna Baszler, further cementing and trashing on Shayna Baszler's career as a wrestler. Why do they hate her?
Sucked. This was bad.
This was awful.
And it sucks even more because Natty and Tamina and Shayna and Nia were having a pretty decent. Well, let me take that back. Natty and Tamina were doing really well. Like, I was enjoying watching them a lot. And then this match was poop. So I don't know who I have to blame here, Tyson. I have high expectations of that man now. And now I'm going to blame him for every single thing that happens in the women's division that I don't think checks out.
Did you know that Tyson Kidd used to be on a tag team with Cesaro? Managed by Natalia.
I feel like I did, but also I'm not really sure.
It was from.
That may have been when she was injured.
I think it was from 2015. They had a match against Daniel Bryan and John Cena.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting news to have in my arsenal of things that I know about Tyson Kidd now.
and on Tyson Kidd's shin guards, on the back of them had painted Natty.
I love that. That's cute. I will never forget the time I was watching Total Divas and Natty and Tyson had to put their cat down, and Tyson was backstage crying, and I was like,
"Oh."
I was like, no, you don't get to cry. Anyways, back to the match. Back to the actual reason that we're here for the podcast.
No.
So we get some hard punches and a kick to Natty. Natty counters a knee strike and quickly goes for a sharpshooter, but Nia pulls Shayna out. At this point, Tamina starts barking at Nia. Shayna nearly powerbombs Natty, but instead, Shayna does something to Natty that looks like a powerbomb, isn't really a powerbomb, but I don't know how else to describe it, before tossing her right into an armbar. We get an elbow stomp to Natty. Jesus, my notes are fucked up for this too. We get an attempted elbow stomp to Natty, but Natty avoids it. There's a knee strike to Natalia, and then an elbow to Shayna and a big discus lariat. There's a big old kick to a distracted Natty's face as Nia gets up on the apron, I think. Yeah. Nia gets up on the apron. This distracts Natty. She gets kicked in the face. She manages to shove Shayna into Nia nearly. But this distracts Shayna enough to roll Shayna up for Natty to win. And then Nia tries to attack Natalia, but Tamina super kicks her. The only silver lining I can pull from this fucking match is that it looks like we're getting a pretty convincing feud for the tag titles and setting a precedent for it to be interbrand.
Yeah. But one thing I do want to point out, going back to Pat McAfee for a second, I'm realizing the reason why he stood the whole time, aside from energy, he didn't want to use the monitor. He wanted to watch the match in person.
God, I want to be so mean to him. He's so hard to be mean to.
It's almost like there's a reason him and Adam Cole are really good friends.
He's such a sweetie. So annoying.
And the reason you want to hate him is because he's so damn good at his job, being a heel.
Not true. I thought that his promos were kind of boring. They bored me.
It didn't bore me so much.
I don't like the... And I'll say it for Elias too. I don't like the standard I'm a heel and you fans suck kind of thing. And that's what I hate about Dolph's gig too. It's like you can be a heel without doing like it's just tried and true. Like it's old.
Yeah. When Dolph's being the show off, it works. I think out of everyone who does the fans suck thing, I think Elias does the best.
True.
Especially when he has a crowd. Because now that it's the Thunderdome, Elias is not really conveying so well.
I agree. Sorry, I'm looking for a lip gloss. It looks dry. I tossed my lip gloss into the wrong thing, and I couldn't find it for the life of me.
So after that horrendous match, we then have a promo with Roman Reigns. Not so much Roman. Jay sits down next to him and says Samaro's a one-hit move. He called it a cute airplane spin. But can you do that with no teeth?
What, Jay?
He had no teeth once, and they were in his brain instead.
Jay said that shit, and I just like sat there like.
Good attempt, though. It's a good attempt.
Can we also discuss the fact that they showed us the same UFO move?
I already talked about that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Apparently, I just knocked it out of my brain. My apologies.
It's okay. We'll mention the fact that they mentioned it 50,000 times. We'll do that 50,000 times.
No. Oh my God, I'd cry.
But then Roman, after Jay said what he said, Roman said, "You heard the man. Now he's going to show you." And then we have Jey Uso versus Cesaro, which ended in a DQ. Fucking non-finish.
It was like it was the most promising match, and then it became the least promising match all at once.
At least have, like, give Jay a win. Let him win over Cesaro. Have Seth come in for the stomp. And let that be that. Cesaro, if you want to build up a feud between Cesaro and Roman, you can have a redemption match between Cesaro and Jay, have Cesaro win, and then go for the title.
I think for me, the thing was like, it gave us a pathway to getting out of old feuds, which I kind of feel like is the purpose of a WrestleMania post episode, like the episode after. Mm-hmm. It gives you it's like a fresh chapter. And they didn't give it to us. And also, they didn't know when the fuck this match was happening, because they said, Roman versus Cesaro up next after Roman's fucking promo in the beginning.
I think that was supposed to be, we'll hear from Roman up next regarding the challenge.
Maybe, but we didn't even have that.
Hmm. Well,
so.
We had Paul Heyman responding.
It sounded like they said that the match was up next.
That's what the graphic looked like.
So, anyways, not the point. All right, so Cesaro catches a pouncing Jay, brings him down into a backbreaker. Jay just starts fucking up Cesaro's hand by wrenching it down into the ropes, goes to kick it, but Cesaro catches Jay's boot, ends up kicking Jay off of the apron down to the ground. Cesaro goes to the ringside, gets hit by a super kick on his way down. Once we're back in the ring, post-commercial break, we get a Samoan drop to Cesaro, and then an uppercut to Cesaro, as well as Jay returning back to that injured arm, starts yanking it against the ropes. Jay looks like he wants to suplex Cesaro, but Cesaro blocks both times that Jay tries. Instead, Cesaro ends up deadlifting Jay into a vertical suplex. After that, Cesaro gets lifted out to the apron by Jay. Lands on his feet. You get a big crossbody off the top rope, which is like, I realized the idea of Cesaro flying at you off the top fucking rope of a wrestling ring, fucking terrifying. Mm-hmm. That is a big man. Jay forces Cesaro to fall. Forces Cesaro to fall on his injured arm. We get a super kick to the jaw of Cesaro, which, thank you, Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee made a point to specifically say that there was a super kick to the jaw, because all Michael Cole said was a boot to the face. And if Pat McAfee knows anything, Pat McAfee knows super kicks. For goddamn sure. So Jay goes up top, gets fucking drop kicked by Cesaro, which, as you said, Mark, he didn't get all of it, but it was still a pretty nice. It was a clean drop kick.
Yeah, it was. Only one person can, or only two people can do the drop kick from the ground up to the top rope.
The second person.
I feel like we saw Leon Ruff do it.
Possibly. I feel like Montez can do it.
Yeah, I'm sure he can.
So at this point, both men are on the second rope, and Cesaro wants Uso on the top so that he can superplex him. Jesus. One cocktail in here, slurring my fucking words. Jay hits back with some body shots and makes Cesaro back down. But Cesaro comes back with a hard uppercut to Jay, hits the gut wrench suplex. We get a springboard corkscrew uppercut to Jay, and then Cesaro wants the swing, but Jay fights out of it. He uppercuts Jay. There's a neck breaker off onto Cesaro. Jay starts slapping Cesaro, so Cesaro gets up, slaps back with rapid fire shots, gets a couple uppercuts in there too. Finally, we get a big discus lariat to Jay, and then we get the swing. And we're counting all the rotations, when all of a sudden, who but Seth Rollins comes in, attacks Cesaro, and like maybe we'll get a heel reunion of the Shield. Like,
that'd be nice. That would be. But also that. Did you mention the corkscrew uppercut?
I did a springboard corkscrew uppercut to Jay.
That was so pretty.
I haven't seen that in a minute.
Yeah, this match was great until it was a non-finish.
Yeah, I'm wondering where they're going with this, and I'm worried about where they're going with this.
Yep. Oh man. What an episode. So best of the night.
Yeah, I guess.
We'll
trying to keep my eyes on Sean Ross Sapp on his Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm stressed.
You're stressed about those releases?
I am.
I feel like they wouldn't come in at 11 p.m.
I feel like they wouldn't, but also, who's to say the WWE wouldn't be calling people at 11 p.m. saying, hey, by the way, you're fucking fired? Sounds like a very WWE thing to do.
It does. Alright, so promo of the night. Let's start off. We started off with Roman, Paul, and Jay talking about WrestleMania, and then Cesaro coming out. This was a great promo. A nice little recap that was not so much of a recap, but rather a reaction leading into the next challenger, which was wonderfully done. We then had Adam Pearce and Sonya, which was fine. Paul Heyman's interview was weirdly poetic. Sami Zayn, mad about WrestleMania, was okay. Paul Cruz and Commander Aziz was kind of a whole lot of nothing. Bianca Belair's victory celebration was a nice moment. It was really nice. Sasha Banks' interview was very interesting because she said nothing. Bayley's interview was fine. Cesaro's interview, where he mentions him having buck teeth and all that, was okay. Roman Reigns' aka Jay's interview or promo was fine, I guess. But I'm gonna go with Cesaro challenges Roman Reigns for promo of the night.
I'll take that.
It's a nice little shake up from the normal challenge and call out and all that.
Are you sure you don't want to give it to Bianca?
I mean, Bianca's was a nice tearjerker, but Nothing substantial coming out of it. I don't know.
I don't know about that one.
There was no lead out from it. It was all reaction, no lead out.
I guess I kind of get that.
I
guess as far as story building is concerned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some wrestler of the night now. We started off with Otis versus Rey Mysterio. I'm definitely gonna go with Rey. Rey looked like his old self today. He really popped off. Otis was great too, but I want to recognize Rey in this episode. Fantastic job from him, especially with that crucifix pin. And then we had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. I'm gonna give this one to Kevin Owens. He looked great. Not super special, definitely not as good as WrestleMania, but still really good. Street Profits versus Dirty Dogs, 100% Montez. Montez looked fantastic. He looked so energetic, so strong, and also like kind of mocking whoever was on the apron as well. Because there was one point he was pinning Dolph, and while he was pinning Dolph, he was staring at Rude on the apron. And then when Dolph kicked out, he just pointed at Rude. It was great. After that, we had Natty versus Shayna. I guess I'll pick Natty. Natty looks like she actually has a character, unlike Shayna right now, who gets distracted by the smallest things. She was distracted by Nia Jax, who was just standing on the apron because Shayna
teammate.
Yeah, she almost ran into Nia, and that distracted her.
I love that. It's like, holy shit, I didn't know you were here. Like.
And then we had Jey Uso versus Cesaro, and I'm definitely going with Cesaro. He every match he puts on is a banger. Every performance he does is fantastic. He never half-asses it. It's always full ass, never half-ass. That springboard corkscrew uppercut was a nice addition to this match. Wonderfully done. Wonderfully done. So, if I were to give it to one person for Wrestler of the Night tonight, Smackdown, April 16th, 2021, I would give it to it's down to two. I'm not sure who to give it to.
I know what I would choose. I want to hear you struggle with this.
For me, it's between Montez and Cesaro. Like, I want to give it to Cesaro, but I really want to recognize Montez. Okay. I want to go with Montez over Cesaro. And if you agree, yeah, I'll go with Montez.
Yes. I feel like Montez showed a little more of his character tonight, and like, yeah. I don't know if it's gonna lead anywhere. I kind of hope it doesn't, but I was a little nervous with him, and I liked that.
Yeah.
Go like a little stressed.
All right, so match of the night. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. Oh man, I hate this. All right, so we had Otis versus Rey Mysterio. An actually really fun match to start off with. We had a great performance from Otis and Rey. That had a really fun finish. Not the kind of fun match you would expect from a feud that's kind of been pretty dull, but it was great. Then we had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, which was a fun match. The ending was a little ridiculous. Just Sammy trying to run away and getting counted out
when he was asking for the fight in the first place.
Right. That was 50-50 on it. Then we had the Street Profits versus Dirty Dogs. If the Street Profits won, it would have been a fantastic match because they put up a winning performance the entire match, and then you have Dolph do one zigzag and suddenly they retain. Not great.
Yeah, I know.
Then we had Natty versus Shayna Baszler. Horrendous match. Horrendous.
The only women's match. You know how many women they have? Not as many as they used to because they kind of fired some of them, but still have women that could still do some wrestling.
Give them some time at least. God damn.
And also the disrespectful aspect of this, and I think this was another reason why I felt like I was back to watching old SmackDown, was that you gave us a women's match, but it was a throwaway women's match because it was full of distractions. Everybody involved besides Tamina, maybe. Yeah, Tamina. Looked kind of stupid at different points in the match.
Right.
It's like, fucking kidding. Thanks for our 5 minutes.
Wasn't even 5 minutes.
Please stop.
So after that, finally we have Jey Uso versus Cesaro. Great match, great performance from both of them, but the non-finish is just an eye roller because now we're back pre-WrestleMania where it's Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. We don't even know if Cesaro actually wants a chance at the Universal title. So we
He
don't
just
know
wants to fight Roman at this point.
Which I get because he humiliated Shinsuke. And you can get Shinsuke in on this feud. But yet Shinsuke was also missing today. But what would have been a great match had a dumb finish. At least let them
feeling. I was just gonna say, I get the feeling that what we're gonna choose is gonna make me mad, even though I'm gonna agree with it.
Yeah, probably. We're probably thinking the same thing. But they could have had the match finish out, had Seth come in at the end, feel some aftermath, and then end on that. Could have had Jay win. But no, that would have been smart. Because then you could have had a redemption match, like I said, between Cesaro and Jay. Before the big challenge between Cesaro and Roman. But no. No. So, my pick for match of the night is gonna be Otis versus Rey Mysterio.
Oh.
Well, are you going with Profits versus Dirty Dogs? You see, that match was fun, but the ending made it so not worth it. I would rather have a match that was fun all the way through, even if it had a fun finish.
No, I agree with you. I see the light. I didn't at first, but now I do. Like completely. The only thing that I'm thinking of is like Montez and Dawkins, like with the rapid tags, just like looking fucking amazing. And then I remember that they didn't win. I'm like,
yeah.
What was the point?
Yep. If a zigzag is all it takes to tear down an opponent, then it should be the most devastating move in professional wrestling, like the Judas effect.
Do I go out of frame when I do that?
Not entirely.
Oh, well, okay.
Alright, so we're going with Otis versus Rey Mysterio.
As much as I hate to say it, yeah, I guess we are.
Okay. So, run it back. Promo of the night. Cesaro challenges Roman Reigns. Wrestler of the night, Montez Ford. Match of the night, Otis versus Rey Mysterio. Liz, would you like to close out this post-WrestleMania SmackDown?
I would love to. I just want to give a quick shout out to the fact that Bayley, I love how every time she fucking brings up Sasha now, she's just like, you can tell she's so in love with her. And all I want is for them to get back together as a fucking heel tag team again.
That'd be pretty great, actually.
Yeah, that would be nice. But anyways, not the point. If you joined us tonight, thank you so much for joining us. I had a wonderful time with you. And actually, my headache's starting to go away, so thanks for being there for the ride. And if you joined us in the future, thank you so much again. Means a lot to us. Heard a weird noise. Anyways, please be sure to watch us on Monday for Monday Night Raw, where we watch Raw so you don't have to.
Glad that's our catchphrase now.
Because it's true. And it's a really big fucking undertaking, so please understand, we don't want to do it, but we do it for you. Anyways, please join us on Monday for that. We'll make it fun. Raw won't, but we will. Yeah, it'll be a good time. And then literally the next day after that, we'll have NXT, which is the fun night.
Yeah. Do we want to replace the Raw podcast with a NXT UK podcast?
That's cheating. NXT UK is so short and well-paced. And also, if we thought we had enough problematic people to talk about, we would have our hands full with NXT UK.
How about we replace Raw with AEW?
No.
Miriam votes for an NXT UK post show.
So, I've been thinking about doing an NXT UK post show too. And it's something that like I want to do, but I can't technically commit to it. Actually, now that I think about it, because I've got work during NXT UK. But we could rewatch it and then do it at any point in time in the evening.
We're not doing an NXT UK post show.
Oh my god, you never let me have fun!
You didn't want to do it when I first brought it up.
I'll do it now.
No. We have our hands full as it is.
I think we could just fill our hands up even more.
What if we just stop doing the podcast?
Oh, what else am I going to do? How else am I going to find gratification and purpose?
Become a blogger. Like it's 2009.
Gonna get my little WordPress site. I used to want to be a blogger.
Go back
But that was also back in the... I was gonna say, that was back in like 2000 whatever, when like you could get really popular on Tumblr.
Mm-hmm. And get
I knew popular people.
And get a blog spot.
That's still a thing.
It is still a thing, actually.
Alright. Every once in a while I'll come across like a WordPress blog because like I'll be looking for a recipe or something and it'll be from like 2005 and you can tell, and it's just the pictures are like shot on a potato quality phone.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh no, something horrible happened here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a relic. Anywho, I definitely took a selfie of myself with hat whiskers drawn on back in those days, so I'll own up to that much.
Miriam also suggested a 205 Live post show that we'd have to do like Saturday morning.
Oh my god. Breakfast with Mark and Liz!
No, I'm so cranky in the morning.
I know you are. When you get out of bed, you're just like...
I'm like dead until 1 p.m. when it's time to start my stream.
When my sister was asking when we would come up, I was like, I'm gonna shoot for 11, but Mark's not easy to get out of bed that early. Now my morning routine is I watch old reruns of MASH while Mark sleeps peacefully and I work at the desk. It's actually quite cute. And domestic.
So Liz, you want to actually close out the podcast? Did you finish that yet?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Like, follow, subscribe, all that jazz. And if you're watching the stream, our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. You can see all of our previous episodes there. Did the NXT episode go up? I think it did.
That's a you question.
I think it did go up. All of our WrestleMania stuff is on there now. We got a little messed up with it. YouTube decided to fuck up and screw up the WrestleMania video. But luckily I was able to just download it off of the Twitch. Which, by the way, if you are a Twitch subscriber, you can watch all the episodes on Twitch up until a certain date. I don't know the exact date when it starts automatically deleting them, but you can watch them right after the podcast is over, and then see them all there. Our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast, right down below. My Twitter is at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. We'll see you on Monday for Monday Night Raw. Have a great weekend.